I never used to believe in God. I have always thought that there was something bigger than me, but I had no idea what it was. And I know that I've shared a little bit prior in some of my prior videos of how I have come to love God. And I started listening to Wayne Dyer again. And I believe that the stuff that we are listening to or watching or reading about, whatever we are putting into our minds and our spirit, really has an impact on the way we think, the way we feel, the way that we look at things that are happening in the world. And one of the things that I like about him is when he references God as that's his word, because you can look at it as oneness or the divine or source or whatever word that you want to refer to this higher being that guides us and loves us. And my word right now is God. And it never was that. It When I started to somewhat become curious about how things worked, where we came from, why we're here, it started out with source, because for some reason God just didn't sit right with me. And over the years, it has changed. And that's okay, because God doesn't really care what you refer to him as. And when I speak, it's always just God as a him. That doesn't mean that that's anything. There is no physical form. And to me, it's energy. And I know that there are some people who have a negative outlook on God because they associate it with religion or a church. And I have experienced going to church and looking into Christianity. I've also looked into some of the philosophies that are out there as well about just something bigger. And I was lucky enough to have found a church that it was my first church looking into. And they just have so much love there. And I didn't have a bad experience. And opening up to the people in my small group was a challenge. And I kept trying different small groups, and I did find one that I absolutely loved. And they welcomed you, and they were always able to hear God, because there are some people when they pray, it's almost like they're channeling, because the words that come from them, I don't know how to explain it except that they wouldn't have known without something. And now I know that it's still a struggle for me to go to God in times of when things are going good for me, and to be grateful and give basically, the glory to him. And I understand that I do have parts that I am working on, but I also look at God as that parent who is trying to teach us and sometimes has to step out of the way in order for us to learn. And that, at least for me as a parent, is very difficult to do. But I know the growth that comes from that as both the child and the parent. But lately the harder times are coming, and it is much easier for me to remember to go to God in those situations. And in the church world, they kind of call it surrendering. In the New Age metaphysical, they call it letting go. And there are so many similarities in all of it. And I believe that God doesn't care how you come to him. He wants to show you that love that he has for us, and the love that we all have for each other, and the love that could be out in the world. And my conversation with him this morning was one, I don't want to cry in front of people. And I've been trying to find my voice in these videos on being able to help as many people as I can. And my conversation started with him this morning about that I wanted to serve him. And I know that that sounds very churchy, and I never would have been using those words. But I have seen and I have felt the love that he has. And I want to be able to help people to find that within themselves, to find their source and their connectedness to the divine, because I know what it feels like. And who wouldn't want others to feel that? And so part of it was that I felt like I was letting him down. He has been trying to get me to talk more. I'm a very quiet person, and I have a lot of knowledge. I'm an Enneagram 5, and I don't like the labels, but part of that is that I take in so much information, and it just stays within me. And he's been trying to get me to, instead of just taking in all of that information, is sharing that information. And this YouTube video and this YouTube channel is one way that he has been trying to do it. And because speaking and being able to talk to you has somewhat been an uphill challenge. And when I feel like I am letting God down, it's because I feel like I'm wasting time on not bringing others to him. And it's almost like a deficiency, if that kind of makes sense, because I'm not doing my part. I'm not being able to help others be part of that oneness, to be part of that love. And he reminded me that I'm doing what I am. I have to not let the fear get to me and to hold me back. You know, it was a long, long time ago, and I must have been going through a really difficult time in my life, because I remember asking my dad that I needed help. And what he told me was, he's like, just sit there, close your eyes, and just keep repeating yourself, I am one. And at the time, I never understood it, but I sat there and I just kept saying, I am one. I am one. And it's probably been 20, 30 years since that has happened. And now I understand. I understand that I am connected with God, connected with the universe and source, that we all come from this one cosmic level of oneness, and the love that we all share within ourselves, that God shares with us, that the divine has. All of us are connected, and that we all are one. And so I'm not sure what comes next in these videos, because I do lots of research, and what I enjoy talking about comes back to self-love. And for some reason, I don't like that word. So if there's another word, please let me know some other terms that I might be able to use, because I'm talking about, letting go and boundaries and making ourselves a priority. And I want to be able to help. I want to be able to help you with these things that I have gone through, that I have learned. And maybe you just need someone to talk to listen, to be able to almost say, you know what, I understand. I've been through that. And just not to feel alone. I know that when I ask God for help, that He does the best He can to help me and still allow me to grow. And so I'm not sure where this is going. But I know that I want to help so many people. And I have felt that in my heart. I've been shown that in my meditations. And I will continue to ask for that. Because I want people to be able to share in God's love, and to feel that presence, and to feel that love and warmth and light that He has for all of us, and that we really should have for everyone around us. Because if we take a little bit more time to get to know God, we could probably make this world a better place.